I made this thumbnail back in 2020, so I'm not sure how many people still believe this dumb idea, but let's clear this up once and for all. DmC Devil May Cry is not a prequel to the main Devil May Cry series. You wouldn't think it needs to be said, but even as recently as 2020, I received a comment from someone who thinks the failed reboot is canon to the main series. So let's explain very clearly why this is not the case. The main argument seems to be what Donte says to Virgil here in DmC 3, the earliest game in the main timeline.
It's been nearly a year since we last met.
The lame theory posits that Donte is referring to the reboot here. Donte defeated Virgil in that game's climax, Virgil went and got power to fight back, met Arkham, and unleashed Temini Gru a year after his loss to Donte. Meanwhile, Donte became a lot more easygoing, lost his Devil Trigger, lost all of his weapons aside from Rebellion and Ebony and Ivory, which now have totally new looks, decided to open a demon hunting business, and abandoned his love interest Cat somewhere along the way. See how ridiculous that is? You'd have an easier time arguing that Virgil's time as Gilver is still canonical even after the DmC 3 retcons. Clearly, Donte was referring to the canonical manga prequel where he briefly passes Virgil in the first volume and presumably was set to meet him again in the cancelled third part. The only other thing that could suggest this is a prequel to DmC 3 is that I recall the game being referred to as a prequel at some point officially, but I've no idea when or where. It would have been early on though, before Capcom and Ninja Theory clarified that it's an alternate universe. Let's discuss other evidence that these are separate universes. Virgil's defeat in the reboot never comes up, even though you know a guy as prideful as him would seethe and be driven by it afterwards. Also, Donte never addresses Virgil's betrayal from the reboot, even in 5. The family home in 5 is much smaller than the mansion from the reboots. Cat is never mentioned. When even Patty from the anime gets a voice cameo, but the female lead of the last game does not, that's a clear sign that she isn't canon. Sparda did not separate his sons after Eva's death, as he was already dead by then. The boys found their own ways out during or after the attack, and Sparda is too dead to be a prisoner in Mundus' creepy sex dungeon. Reboot Mundus never using his forms from DmC 1 is another clear sign of separation. Trish says Mundus resurrected 20 years ago in DmC 1, clearly referring to when Eva was killed, but the theory proposes that he's been active and killed since then, and also Sparda didn't rebel against and defeat Mundus 2000 years ago according to the reboot. He ran away. Donte doesn't know who's responsible for his mother's death by DmC 1, even though in the reboot he fucking saw Mundus do it. And finally, what should really be the biggest one, Eva is a red-headed angel in the reboot, but a blonde human in the main series. For that matter, angels exist. In the main series, angels are simply an aesthetic for certain demons like the Order of the Sword and arguably Lucia. Angels have never been even hinted to actually exist in the series' 20-year history outside of the reboots. Combine this edition with the entire concept of Limbo, and this game fits into the Bayonetta canon far easier than into Devil May Cry. So hopefully, we can finally put this moronic assertion of canonicity to rest. That, or it already has been, and I'm just digging up a corpse. Either way, if you still think DmC is part of the main series canon,
stop it. Get some help.
If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then you're probably one of the idiots I proved wrong. Piss off. Today's recommended video is DmC Retrospective, The History of a Controversy by Foxcade. The guy does good stuff, what can I say?